If you're an actor trying to build a real working career in the industry, you're in the right place. I'm Shannon Sturges, and I've worked as an actor for over 30 years. And for the past 15, I have coached some of the top working actors in the business. So I have seen this industry from both sides. So I'm uniquely qualified to talk about what it takes to get you hired and have a lasting career in this industry. So today I am joined by J. Teddy Garces, whose credit, well, he's one of our amazing teachers at the studio,
Yeah.
but he hasn't been teaching so much lately because he's been so busy working. He just got a very big job and he'll be gone out of the state for a while, but you've seen him on The Pit, you've seen him on SWAT, he's created his own movie. He's a busy, busy guy. Thank you for joining us.
Right on. Thank you. Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
The casting directors consistently say about you.
My God. Honestly, I wish I knew that because that's kind of like that would be like having intel.
Hmm.
But I do think that there's a general consensus if you look at the jobs that I've gotten that there is a a blue collar feel.
Hmm.
Um, there is the ability to handle movement in space, whether that be stunts or any type of like just movement within a certain environment. Um, and then character wise, I think it would be there's an I think and I'm going also by what how my wife feels about me.
I
I
just
think
love how you
I
start
no
beaming when you
seriously
think
no
about
she
Austin.
seriously no because she I think that there's an earnestness and a nobility that kind of juxtaposes this kind of little bit of a tough exterior with the facial hair and with the whole workout persona
The
and
muscles.
the muscles, right? And that gives an interesting contrast. um I don't know how they use that.
Well, I was really interested. You said how to move through space. And I think two of the things that are so interesting about you and how well rounded you are as an actor is that not only are you a boxer,
Yeah.
but also a dancer.
Yeah.
You want to talk about how those have impacted you and your career?
Physicality. I
Hmm.
love physicality. Um, I was a dancer for many years and I played around and dabbled in boxing and it's both have given me something for my craft and and as an actor that I don't think I could have gotten anywhere else because there's this hyper focus that you have to have, especially, when you have punches being thrown at you, right? Right. And also, and as a dancer, when you're dancing with a group, staying in unison and falling out of sync with that group in choreography, you stand out like a sore thumb. So you are accountable and responsible for keeping your place and for understanding the choreography and it helps when it comes to ensemble stuff.
Hmm.
You know, it's just yeah, it's given me the ability to kind of like broaden my horizons as an actor. I'm not just so that I'm not just a talking head. I think
Right.
right. It you could send me to run after somebody or take a tumble or jump off a balcony, which I've done, or combat stage combat and stuff like that, and also spatial awareness. I think spatial awareness is important.
Do you think that
Yeah.
helps you in working with the camera?
It does. It does. It has helped me the most in hitting my marks,
Hmm.
right? Especially in a wide open space where you have a wide angle lens and that lens is catching the ground,
Right.
right?
So
So
there's no
there's no mark.
sandbags down there to
There's no
stop
there's
you.
no mark, there's no sandbags, there's no tape on the floor, you know what I mean? So it's just kind of it helps me understand like triangulation, like
Hmm.
where I am to my left and to my right and what's in front of me and how far I have to walk and how much I have to move in order to get to where I am. And it's kind of cool. It's just kind of giving me this other like sixth sense kind of thing.
A lot of actors, when they're starting out, if they haven't been on set, will they're very concerned about hitting marks. That's very
Right.
much their concern because it's something that's new to them rather
Right.
than being on stage or in class. And,
Mhm.
practice and I think having that physicality and understanding where you are in space is so important.
Yeah.
And then once you got it, you got it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of like riding a bike.
Right.
You get better as you go along, but you still have to kind of continue to do it, to kind of just like be proficient and not be wonky at it. But yeah, it's a worry. It's definitely it's a legitimate worry, especially when they have to be responsible for something and they're out there by themselves, right? You feel naked. You're like, oh my god, and if I don't hit this mark, somebody's gonna come up to me, tap me on the shoulder, and be like, hey, listen, you were off camera.
I heard a great story about Ed Zwick when he was doing shooting Glory. And it
Hmm.
was Andre Brower's first job right out of school. And the DP was like, "You need to talk to him. He's not hitting his marks. He's always out of focus." And they went
Wow.
over and they said, "You got to hit your marks."
Got
And he
it.
went, "Okay, what are those?"
Wow.
That's how green he was. He
You're
had no idea.
right.
And then he
Right.
hit them all every time.
Yeah, yeah. It happens a lot also when you've done a lot of stage. There are marks on stage, but you're it's more about finding your light than it is finding a mark.
It's true. I remember once I was in church and I felt the sun come through the stained glass and I leaned into it and I went, "Oh, I'm in church
Yeah,
finding my
yes,
light."
exactly.
I was like, "Oh, I'm an actor in my
Yes,
bones
exactly.
now."
That's God's way of saying thank you, 10. 10 minutes to curtain. Come on.
There we go. Um, the question I love
Yeah,
is, have you ever thought that you bombed an audition and then you booked it?
I bombed. I bombed and I booked. I bombed and I booked, and it happened one time. I did a show called Shameless, right? And I went to I for the life I can't remember the name of the casting director. I wish I did. But I think they yeah, well whatever. So I go to this audition and it's cool. I mean, I'm it's just regular audition. Or in
Mhm.
the before times when you used to go into the room.
In-person auditions
In-person
where you see
auditions,
all your
yes.
competition in the
Yeah, where
hallway.
everybody looks like you and
Right?
everybody decided to wear like the same military shirt that you wore. Like you're not special. You didn't think of
Right.
that. So yeah, they called me into the room and I worked my audition the way I worked everything else. You know what I mean? I go over it, I make my choices, blah blah blah. I have a little backup choice. And so it comes to it comes to my line and I start off strong. I start off good. And then halfway through my line, I just thought it's like a spaz stroke. Like it's a combination of like us. I keep moving this mic. It's a combination of like a whole lot of things that happen. And and the casting director was like, okay, the director is like sitting off to my left and she's looking at me and she's smiling. She's like, I do it again. I'm like, all right, and I do it again and I bomb again. I trip over it again. I'm like, all right, let's go. See that's the now it's the part that part kicks in where it's like, Teddy, don't apologize, right? But don't fuck this up again,
Right.
right? Like don't like you know what I mean? I trip again. It was like 3 times in a row.
Three
No, don't worry.
times.
And and I catch a glimpse of the director, and she still has the same smile on her face that she did when I walked in. And the casting director, and I did it again, and the camera person, I did it again. And then I finally got it right. But it was kind of like, when you reach the finish line and you kind of like crawling
Crawl
through
across it.
and you just reach and you just and and I booked that job. I booked Shameless.
Oh, that's
It was
wonderful.
it was it was the most out of control thing. I'd never experienced that again. Nobody, no. And I had bombed a couple of other auditions before, but that was the one that's so memorable because I was like, "What on earth?" And obviously, when you get to set and everything, you're more prepared.
Uh-huh.
You got more than 24 hours to remember all this text or whatever, and so it was fine. But my goodness, that might have been one of the biggest, lowest to highest points Oh my God, yeah,
Did
pretty
you
bad.
think they had you confused with somebody else when your agent
They
called to book you?
totally, they had to have. They must have known. They were like, yeah, let's call bombed guy. Like, so let's book the guy that couldn't get it right like 3 or 4 times. It was crazy. Yeah, no, but you
Yeah,
know,
I've had some of those, but I didn't book them.
yeah, right, right,
I've
right.
had
No,
ones that I didn't think went as
oh
well
yeah,
as apparently the
right.
casting people did, but,
Oh, trust
yeah,
me. No, I've had a few of those that I didn't book, and they were right not to book me,
right.
right? Like these, for some reason, they were just like, I don't know. This guy kind of looks like the guy that I had in my head when I wrote it, and he's the military guy, and he has everything we need except the lines. So let's just trust that the lines will be there on the day, and they were. They were. It was cool.
I booked a show once, that was a word perfect show, right?
Mm.
They give you the
Ooh.
script and they make you sign it saying you're not
Yeah.
gonna change
Like an
anything.
Aaron Sorkin's show type of thing.
Kinda, yeah, and
Mm.
I didn't know that going into the audition, and so I had changed some things going into the audition, not on purpose. It just had happened,
Right.
and I was so grateful I didn't know it going into the audition because it would have been
Wow.
so and they still
Wise.
booked me, and I
You
did
would,
it word
yeah,
perfect.
there you go. Yeah. Because as long as you can do that, there's something about like having a relationship with the people behind the camera and casting directors and, everybody else who calls you in, the producers or whatever, is that if they know that you can do something, if they've worked with you before, if they've been in a room with you before where you've had to audition and you mess up that one audition, they'll still book you.
Yeah. And let's talk about that a little bit. Let's talk about relationships. What
Yeah.
is, do you work hard to nurture those relationships? Do they come naturally? I think sometimes that's one of the hardest things for actors is to nurture
Yeah.
those relationships.
They've they've come naturally. Um, I I can't say that I put such a strong effort into it. I allow things to be organic
Hmm.
because I think if you're a little bit too pushy, um, even if you're not trying to build a relationship and you're pushy with somebody, it's kind of a turn off.
Right.
And I'm morbidly afraid of turning somebody off because of that.
Yeah.
I don't. It's a queasy, cringy feeling, and I can kind of. I could do without it. I'd rather just let it. If we have something in common that we can talk about at a party or at some type of event, and I mean, I know a lot of casting directors
Hmm.
already that are legitimate friends
Oh,
that
that's wonderful.
that are legitimate, like, and these are like high profile people
Hmm.
that have multiple shows on TV and blah blah and all this other stuff. And I love the fact that I've never had to overdo anything because then you know that it's a mutual acceptance of who you are rather than what you offer,
Hmm.
you know. But
Casting
yeah,
directors are some of the greatest
they
people.
are, they
They really
are,
are. They
they
love
are,
actors.
they are some of the most fine tuned between casting directors and writers. I don't know who is more intelligent. Like writers are so smart and casting directors are so sharp. Like they'll look at you and they'll see what you are immediately. And by that I mean image and likeness,
Right.
right? They'll see what you are. But in about 5 minutes, they'll see who you are. And that's a different type of skill. That's like an intuition that you can't, like, you've got to be good at that. And I love that. I love that. But yeah, I mean, those relationships, they've come naturally. Some of them I've had to, take a step forward and be just a little bit more proactive, but still within the respect of the boundaries that the person's putting up and that I would want somebody to respect about me.
Right. If you there's a show or something that you would like to do or that you've had, yeah, you've been on their other
100%.
shows. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And you know what, man? We're in 2026 right now. Like social media makes things easier. It really does. Like before, a lot of them were so off limit, and rightfully so.
Right.
You have to be able to keep that separation. But with social media, I can follow you, you can follow me, you can see what I'm doing, I can see what you're doing, and the unspoken thing between that is we already know what's happening in each other's lives. I know what you're casting.
Hmm.
You know what I was just in. right? There's not this push to throw it in anybody's face. I post what I post because I love what I do,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so do you. And so if something comes up that's a mutual interest to both of us, then, maybe I'll comment on the thing that you're casting and say this looks like it's going to be good or something, because it does look like it's going to be
Right.
good. Not because I'm trying to play myself or anything like that, because then that's kind of cringy too,
Right.
right?
No,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think
yeah.
people can.
Yeah.
You said being genuine and authentic,
You
and I
have
think
to,
that's so
man.
important.
You have to. You have to. And look, you're dealing with people that see who you are. You
They
want to,
better.
yeah, yeah, right?
If
Yeah,
they don't, you're doing something wrong.
exactly. So you're gonna be disingenuous with somebody who's actually built to see these things.
Right. Yes.
That doesn't, you know what I mean?
So, have you noticed anything different about the auditions that you booked? Have you noticed anything different about the auditions that you've booked versus the ones that you didn't book?
Um, Not all the time. Look, I've put my I put my soul on. Like, I'm gonna do the artist thing right now.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Let's let's
Oh, I
do let's
love
do
the
let's do
artist
let's do
thing.
let's do the artist thing. I've cut myself open in front of the camera and just, and haven't booked. And then I've kept it very primal and simple and organic, and didn't do anything that was in my mind, right? But I'm not the one judging this.
Right.
Didn't do anything that was extraordinary, and got the call for the callback, and I'm like, they're calling me back for this. I'm like, okay, well, I'm not gonna argue with that. And then I book it after that. So there might be a story behind that. There might be a story in the simplicity of execution, right? There might be a story in staying out of your head and not judging yourself along the way,
I think that's so important.
right? But then again, the other stuff that felt really good, there was the same thing. It was still organic, it was still visceral, and but it just felt, you know what, it felt more connected when I felt like I did something. It felt real, it felt personal.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I didn't do anything and I kept it simple, it felt like I didn't care. Now, this isn't a message to actors to
Right.
not care. That's not what this is, right? Like, you
No.
have to care about your stuff. But there's something to that. There's something always about people wanting what they can't have.
And it's also letting go,
Letting go.
not being, sometimes I'll call it white knuckling the audition, and you
It's
can just
such a
see the person.
mhm.
And
It's such a huge part of it. If you're holding on too tight, people see it. They see your guard up.
I was
They see
just
you need it.
I was just reading an article about an actor who booked something, and they were told, "Oh, you're not they're going to go with a big name from, a different country. So, just have fun with the tape."
Wow.
And so that allowed them to just n- assume that they weren't going to get it and do exactly what they wanted to do.
That's
And they
right.
said they had so much fun playing, and they booked it.
That's
So,
right.
yeah.
That's right. Have fun and be bold, and just, if you go into it with a nothing to lose attitude,
Yeah. And you don't have anything to lose.
you have
You
absolutely
have the
nothing to
job that you
lose.
currently don't have to
That's
lose.
right. Which is
And I say that to the actors. I'm like, you're so desperately trying to keep a job you don't have.
right. Right. You don't have it. You don't have it. You can go in and do all the positive affirmations, and this job is mine to lose, and chants, and do all your stuff, but bro, you don't have it.
Yeah.
You don't have the job. You're going in there to, you're going in there to play. The job is going in there and just having fun, and treating those sides, and treating it as if that's the day of work.
For me, yes. For me, it either helped to be thinking that this was my first day on the set,
Right.
not the audition, or it's already been cast.
Right.
So I can just have some fun and they can see what I can do for another role.
Right.
And I've
Right. Right.
usually
Right.
booked
Right.
those.
And yeah, and it's the room a lot of times, right? It's what's happening inside the room, and they say booking the room, but I just say being good enough to be worthy of being considered for something else. If that's not available, I mean, 10,000 actors, there's one role. I mean,
If you're not getting it, there's probably another really good actor who's getting it.
Come on. Come on, Anyway, so
um, do you think there's anything that actors don't understand about callbacks? If that process is different, at least for you?
yeah. First of all, the callback is a win. It's hard to say that to a young actor who's been doing this for whatever, fill in the blank number
Mhm.
of years. Um, and who has gotten his or her or their heart broken, right? Because they wanted this job right away and they got called back and they feel like they came so close. And then
Mhm.
they called them after they called them back, they called them back again. And it was like, oh my God, it's in the bag.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And s- as a writer myself, I can tell you that the role is still being written. Like, don't act like this is set in stone. When you audition for something, believe you me, especially if it's TV where writer is king, um, they can begin to readjust the text. They can begin to readjust the character, the scene, or anything that involves that dialogue and that story based on what they're seeing on camera, right? Is it Remember, they're not having table reads before they have a cast.
Right.
These auditions are like the writer's table reads.
They're hearing their
They're
words,
hearing
they're
their words
seeing
for the
how it
first
lands,
time,
their
right?
jokes if it's a comedy.
Right.
Oh,
So
you know.
if you get a callback, you probably fit one of the specs or one or more of the specs that they're looking for, right? Great height to play alongside our lead, or maybe you're going for the lead, great height for our love interest or whatever. Um, Great ethnically ambiguous, great this, great that, all of these wonderful things. And then you have three people that fit that. Now, what are they looking for? You know, is this character going to offer me a little bit more sensitivity? Is this character going to be able to offer me a little bit more hardness and street smart? Like, what is it about them that fits well with this thing that I wrote? And if you don't get it, it's absolutely fine. You were being considered for something that was already a moving target. So
Yeah.
trying to land on that is it's incredible. It's almost a miracle. You can't take it too personal.
I love that. It's a miracle when you when you book
Oh,
something,
you
you
booked
know.
something. It's a lot.
Yeah.
My agent said it. My agent said it like I think a couple of years ago or something. I had booked something and he was like, Teddy, let me tell you, this is a lottery out here. I was like, it's a lottery.
So let me transition into that because actors are always asking me about representation. How did you get your manager or your agent? Sorry, your reps.
Nah, yeah.
Mm.
My very first rep.
Yeah, how about your very
Wow,
first one?
my very first manager was in New York, and I had a headshot photographer. I'm on the A train. I'm on the way downtown, and I have a play open in my hand. I forgot it was for a class. It wasn't for an actual play.
Uh-huh.
So I'm reading the play on the train, and we kind of make eye contact, and I just kind of like nod my head. This is New York, right?
Right. Yeah.
Kind of nod my head, "Well, what's up?" And I just keep reading my play. Eventually, we start a conversation, right? He's an actor. He's like, "Where do you go to school?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm going down to SFT, to School for Film and Television, blah blah blah, this and the other stuff." And he goes, "All right, cool, yeah, I know that place. Hey man, I'm a headshot photographer." Gives me his business card. I'm like, "Cool." I take down his business card. A couple weeks later, I call him up because I need headshots.
Uh-huh.
I shoot headshots with him, right? He shows me on his camera, some of the pictures. He's like, "Man, I really like this one and I like this one." I'm like, "Great." So he dumps them into the computer, and out of nowhere, I don't know why, I said, "You got an agent, a manager?" He's like, "Yeah." And then he's kind of looking at me for like a hot second, and he goes, "I think my manager would like you, but I'm gonna try to set something up, but my manager likes crazy people. Like you can't." No joke. That's what he said. He was like,
And did he seem a little crazy?
he was a little bit off.
Okay.
He's still a good friend of mine till this day.
Oh, that's wonderful.
He was a little bit off, and he was like, "My manager likes crazy people. You got to be a little bit, loose." I said, "All right, cool, no problem." He emails his manager. His manager emails him back within an hour. In 1 week, I have a meeting, and when I got there, I didn't know what to expect. He had papers on the table, and I signed with him immediately. And he's the manager that helped me, come over here to LA. And I got an agent in LA because of him. And it was just, stepping out and doing something that I don't normally do, which is kind of like make friends on the train.
Right. That could be
Yeah,
nervous,
right.
especially in New York.
Yeah, especially in New York. But he was so incredibly cool. He's a great actor. He works all the time, but he was shooting headshots all the time. And it was that's how it happened. So it was just a matter of asking. And it worked out, and it worked out well.
Oh,
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
What do you think is something that actors overcomplicate?
The artist, the actor artist, and then the person. Because you the actor part of you, the artist part, I think, I think, mm, I know I'm going to get pushback on this. I think they overcomplicate backstory. I really do. I really do. I think backstory is important. I have a laundry list of questions. It's a sheet of 45 questions
Oh,
that I,
I've seen it.
you've seen it, right? It's a sheet of 45 questions that I use religiously for all of my auditions and I may not have to answer all of them, right? But it helps me find things about my character that I may not have known. Now, this is the thing. Nobody cares that you were adopted if you're going to the store to buy milk, right? Nobody cares. Nobody cares. All right? Nobody. How would I grab the milk out of the refrigerator if I was adopted versus not adopted? Bro, you grab it. You grab it. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. What's the complication? Like, what are you doing? Like, that's the that I really I've never really fully understood that. I'm like, all right, cool, no problem. But then, I mean, I think also, just as a person, like, not within the craft, not within the actor craft, the actor, him or herself, outside of the set or outside of the stage in the play or whatever. I think they overcomplicate what they feel is necessary to succeed. There's all of these myths.
Oh, let's talk about some of those myths.
I mean, do you think I should get cheek implants? Do you think I
Oh,
should get?
yeah.
Be real careful. Well,
Back
maybe not.
back in the
Maybe
old
not.
days, should I change my name?
Should I
Should I cut
change?
my
Should I
hair?
change my name? Should I cut my hair? I mean, like, it's no. Get your instrument better.
Yeah,
You're a shapeshifter. This is what you are. You're an actor. You are a person, an individual who becomes this thing within yourself, right? I tell you what, if they want you to have cheek implants, there's a makeup artist that they're paying a lot of money to who can do prosthetics. And
right. A little
you feel me?
shading too, you
Like,
know?
what do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They can cut your hair, they can dye your hair if the job is big enough, or wigs. I don't, just stay healthy, stay in your craft, right? But don't buy into nonsense. Don't buy into nonsense. This is a craft that very few people turn into an art form, I believe,
That's true.
right?
That's
That
our job, and we
Yeah,
try.
right. We try. This is a craft that uses two things: your voice and your body. I don't know what else it uses. These are the two instruments that you bring to the table for each and every single thing that you will do as an actor. Train those things. Work on those things.
Right.
That's it. And don't worry about if you were adopted for the for your scene at the 7-Eleven where you're buying milk, bro. Get out of here. We don't
Right. What's your job?
get
I
to the
need milk.
yeah.
But I'm
Yeah.
lactose intolerant. How would
Yeah.
I?
Oh God, but why would I buy this? Oh God. All right.
I
Yeah.
not always. Most of the mistakes that I think that actors make, I feel come from a good place.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes people who are a little lazy in doing maybe voice work, maybe the body work, maybe other kind of character work,
Hmm.
then we'll over focus on these other things. And it's like you're not really understanding the process because you're going for result.
It's a naivete.
Right.
It's yeah, it's ignoring the things that have to get you to where you want to go and trying to jump straight there.
Right.
And that, I mean, I don't, maybe there's somebody out there that that's worked for. It's never worked for me. You know what I mean? I've had to take the stairs. Like you've got right. So it happens. It happens. And I think it's also something that happens with when you're just a little bit, when you're still in training, when you haven't been connected to this thing long enough. Um, it's easy to get advice from people um, that's not true. It's easy to hear opinions and to get, to hear information that's misleading, and you don't know what to weigh it against because you haven't had that experience.
Oh, that's a great point. Yeah.
You've just you're new, and that's okay. That's okay. There's places and people that
Everybody's
can help.
green at one point.
Everyone is green at one point. Everyone. So yeah, but you heard it here first, right? Yeah.
Do you have any rituals or process that you do before a big audition or before a day on set?
I don't.
Okay.
I don't. Before a day on set, I do try to get some good sleep, depending, because some of these call times are right.
4:30 in the morning.
Yeah, I just had a couple of them this past week. 6 a.m. call time, 6 a.m. on set, right? Which means you're shooting in. If you're here in LA and you know geography, we live by the beach, so that's a drive to Santa Clarita,
Yeah.
right? Even at that time, like it's a buck, it's an hour. So get a good night's sleep, get well rested, because in my experience, the toughest thing you'll have to do will be after having to wait 5, 6 hours to do it, and then you're right, hurry up and wait,
Right.
and so then you're run down, or you're hopped up on coffee, right? Uh, but there is no true ritual for me before an audition. I am an obsessive um repeater of lines, and I'll rehearse it 25 different ways.
Right.
And I don't know what sticks. I typically I don't know what's going to end up on camera. I don't.
And what I love about knowing
Yeah.
you and knowing your process or seeing your work is a lot of times actors who don't really know what they're doing, they'll rehearse it and then it's only one way.
No, you
And
can't do that.
yours, it's
No,
every take, it
can't
can
do
be a
that.
little different. You're
It's
exploring something new. It's
yeah,
not never locked in. It's this knowledge, but with
yeah.
the freedom within it.
It's gonna it has to have, and I don't think that is a voluntary reaction. To be honest, I think it's involuntary. I think it begins to. I think everything that I rehearse eventually begins to seep out
Ah.
at different points, and I think there's times when I try to control it that it gets weird, and that's not what we want. But when I'm free, like we
Mhm.
spoke earlier, and you just kind of give yourself that little liberty of letting go. There's the there's the spontaneity, and then there's the thing where it just kind of happens, and I'm like, wow, I didn't know that was going to happen. That's pretty cool. That's the beauty of like
That's
self.
really, yeah.
That's the beauty of self taping, is that you get a couple of those, right? Like, you'll choose the take that most speaks to you most, right?
Do you ever get nerves anymore, or did you ever get nerves?
In I don't get nerves on set anymore. I am. I'll tell you something that I've learned about myself recently, and I would say, probably, when I say recently, I probably mean like maybe the last 7, 8 years. Um, the more people around, and the bigger the cast, the bigger the crew, the more I love it. It's the smaller, intimate stuff where I'm like, I want to be more quiet.
Mhm.
And I do have a shy part about me. I do. It's not often seen, right? It just pops its head out every now and again. But that's typically in smaller gatherings,
Mm.
right? I feel like I really want to get to know you before I open up. But if there's a lot of people, it gets my whatever inhibition or whatever shyness I have gets covered or blanketed by the fact that there are so many people and I really can't connect with each and every single one. Um, so on sets, I don't get nervous. I don't
That's
get nervous.
wonderful.
I don't get nervous. I have gotten nervous in the room in for auditions, for sure. Just kind of sitting out there and thinking more about what it meant to me to have this
Mm,
than I did thinking about what I wanted to do in the scene. So the nerves came from that.
right.
This means this much to me. Where if I would have just thought, get the money, right? Like if
Right.
that's the scene, right? Or save the kid,
Right.
right?
Your objective being
Right.
about
Yes. Or
what it is for the character
for the
rather than what it is for
right.
Teddy.
Get back together
I
with your
need this
girlfriend.
job. I want this
Right.
job. I
Instead focus on that, right? Instead of this, and I would have been okay. And that's where the nerves came from. Because then you you have to leave the waiting room and step into a room, right? Where there's, a couple of folks, maybe you might have one or two people, but they're needing you to do that stuff. And you weren't focused on that.
this uh series that you're about to leave and go
Yeah,
work on,
yeah, yeah.
was that an in-person audition, self-tapes,
This was self tapes.
and
Yeah,
the callback as well, or was it
yeah.
just okay?
From the no from the tape.
Oh,
From
that's
the
wonderful.
tape. Yeah.
Just one tape
Yep, one
or
tape.
oh, fantastic.
One
Well,
tape, and then it went through whatever channels it had to go through. And here we are.
yay.
Yeah, 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 yeah. It's cool. I mean, talk you talk about like so many of these things being a fast track, right? Like there's like they move very fast. This one kind of took its time a little bit
Mhm.
though, right? Like I sent it in and I didn't hear anything back. Then there was the hey, moving forward, right? And I was like, hey, great. And then didn't hear anything. And then, hey, this is not it's the artistic choice is what they called it,
Mhm.
right? Hey, this is the artistic choice. And we were like, great, and then didn't hear anything. Right? Oh no. It's like like 6 weeks, maybe close to 2 months of just kind of like not knowing like, okay. And then all of a sudden it's like, okay, you're flying out on such and such dates. Yeah, like yeah, so it's pretty cool. Like it just it all worked out so that, but
Sometimes you find out you booked something from wardrobe calling you.
right, right. Like, hey, can I get your sizes?
You're like,
What are you talking
"What?"
about? What? Like, you have any dietary restrictions? Who is this? No, but it's a the word bureaucracy gets thrown around a lot in this business because of the different channels and the different levels that things have to go through. And in some sense, it is right. I'm not mad at that word. I mean, I think it's kind of appropriate. Um, but there's a lot happening behind the scenes. Like I've been pinned on something. Like I've been pinned on a job where I was like, ooh, ooh, ooh. I'm gonna get some nice stuff out of this. Where it's like, yeah, we just wrote the whole thing out.
Yeah.
TV now. We just wrote the whole thing out. I'm watching it. I'm watching the show. I'm like, yep, the whole thing is gone.
Which has gotta feel better than watching somebody else do it.
It's got to feel it does feel better. It does feel better. I still have the text message from from my agent. He was like, "Hey Teddy, I'm afraid, that, it was such and such and it was down to you and somebody else and, they went with somebody else." I was like, "But they didn't go with someone
Uh-huh.
else. It was gone." And I was like, "Oh, okay." I was like, Well, I'm glad the other person didn't get it. In this case, right? I
Right.
mean, you want to be honest with yourself. You're like, man, I really wanted that, but it's gone.
Yeah, you can't lose out on a role if
You
the role
can't.
doesn't exist anymore.
Which brings me back to the whole callback question.
Mhm.
You can't take it personal, right? You
Yeah.
get you get pinned, you get called back.
You
You're the
got
choice for
called
something.
back. That's
That's
fantastic. You
fantastic.
did something right.
You did something absolutely right. And then, if you have no idea what's happening with the writing or with the restructuring of the story, you know. I had an audition for a pilot where that happened, and the entire pilot episode that I watched was different than what I read. It was I was like, what show is this?
It seems
To the
familiar.
point where I'm going through my emails, I'm finding the script. I'm like, is this the same? Yeah, it's the same show. I mean, it was different. It was materially different.
Wow.
So
Yeah.